Guys, welcome back to Blue Ridge Silverhound. Hope everyone's having a great morning. And today I wanted to talk about another patron email. And this one is in regards to the 2000 Cheerios Lincoln Penny. And it's kind of a interesting coin with an interesting story. Of course, back in 1999, everybody was gearing up for the millennia, the year 2000, it's different. People were freaking out about how, how their computers would change over and, the whole world clock fiasco and everything going on. And it kind of whimpered into nothingness. Nothing really came out of it as far as technical, worldwide issues with computer systems and all that. But at the time, there was also this transitional period for coinage. Going from what has traditionally been the 1900s into the 2000s was something kind of special to a lot of collectors. Okay, the U.S. Mint had produced the state quarters, after the first year of production, it went off like gangbusters. Became one of the biggest selling sensations in U.S. coinage product history in quite some time. At the same token, and this can get lost in translation, the 2000 Lincoln Penny was kind of one of those coins that not a lot of people really paid any attention to. Okay. Furthermore, a lot of people don't know that the U.S. Mint, or General Mills, I guess, commissioned with the U.S. Mint to produce the first 10 million Lincoln pennies to be included in specially marked boxes of Cheerios cereal. Furthermore, they also commissioned to do a special strike coin, the Sacagawea dollar. Of course, you guys know. It's the very first year that the U.S. Mint had produced a completely different dollar design than what we were used to seeing. We were used to seeing the Susan B. Anthony dollar and the Eisenhower. Okay, so those were the two coins before we began this kind of like newfound, type of coin. These gold dollars is what they were called at the time and still are, even with the presidential series have come and gone. Those coins are extremely valuable. Okay, they have a re-engraved reverse tail feathers that's really easy to diagnose at first glance. However, a lot of folks forgot about the first 10 million Lincoln Cheerios, is what they were called, pennies. And these things were pulled out of cereal boxes. Kids pulled them out. Not a lot of them were saved in its original kind of little blister pack. In case you guys are wondering what it looks like, here's a couple images on the front and back. So there you go. Okay, that's what these things look like. And believe it or not, over the years, the third-party graders have the ability to grade and authenticate the 2000 Cheerios pennies, and they only made them in Philadelphia. All right, so they're all Philly minted coins. There were no Denvers in the Cheerios promotion. By themselves, the coins weren't worth anything other than a penny. Okay, if you could kind of envision what happened during that time, a lot of people pulled the coin out because they were looking for that dollar. Okay, the dollar was kind of like the Chase coin. I believe they fell somewhere in like one out of 100 boxes or something like that. I forgot. I've personally found a few of the pennies myself. Don't have them anymore because I followed that same narrative. I was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna just pull it out of the package, throw it in the jar, and then that's it. It's gonna end up in circulation for the rest of its life. And that's what a lot of people did, was they pulled these coins right out of the package, they spent it, they saved it, it ended up in a piggy jar, it ended up at a Starbucks or, Jack in a Crack is what we used to call Jack in the Box back in the day. But the coins in themselves are nothing special. There's no special strike. There's no kind of like diagnostical feature that sets itself apart to traditional regular 2000 minted Lincoln pennies. Okay, they made billions of them. Well, I don't know billions, but hundreds of millions into the billions. But what I wanted to talk about was I had a patron email me, and he must have been watching a lot of my videos. He became very astute to the auction record sales of coins. Okay, not specifically the Cheerios penny, but just getting an idea of what coins are selling for through some of these online auction sites like Great Collections, Heritage, Stacks Bowers, you name it. There's probably half a dozen very notable and recognizable auction houses on the internet. So he was referring to a coin that sold on eBay in March. Okay, as a matter of fact, it's March 22nd. A 2000 Cheerios promotional Lincoln penny that was sent off to grading as a PCGS Mint State 68. Says, wow, monster of a coin. And it is. It's a high top population coin for what it is. Sold for $2,550. It was a traditional auction format. So some collector or registry set owner bought this coin. It's the highest graded example of a Cheerios designated coin. And there you go. There's one big phenomenal sale for $2,500 that's floating around on eBay. That's barely 2 months old. So this individual emailed me and said, I have one of these 2000 Cheerios Lincoln pennies. I saw one for sale for $2,500. I want you to buy this one for $2,000. I'm like, I don't buy coins like that, number one. And he actually sent me a few pictures. Well, guess what? He has the 2000 Lincoln cent coin, all right, but it's not in the original packaging, all right? The only way that a third-party grader will grade this with the Cheerios attribution on the slab label is it has to be sent off in the original Cheerios blister card, and that's how you're going to have the ability to get the Cheerios designation on the slab label. And then there you go. So after going back a few times, I said, well, but this coin right here is outside of its Cheerios packaging, and he automatically got very kind of aggressive with me. He said, well, no, this is the Cheerios coin. This is the one that was in the Cheerios packaging. I'm like, well, I can't really say for sure because you don't have it in the packaging. You just have a picture of a coin, which, by the way, looked like garbage, as if he pulled it out of change. And I told him the actual kind of like progression of how these things are sold. I told him, if you have the coin, if it's in the original package, you send that off to a third-party grader. Nobody will pay the absorbent premiums for such a coin without it being graded first, because it has to meet a certain grade criteria. A Mint State 67 example, okay, which is one lower than the one that sold for $2,500, sold for about $200 on eBay. Okay, I'm looking at it right now. As a matter of fact, it sold on March 2nd. So there's a huge price gap, okay, between the 67 and the Mint State 68 because the 68 is the top population grade. Okay, it's the highest grade level for this coin. So I went back and forth, and he got pretty belligerent. Was starting to cuss me out on email, and he even went so far as to go on my Facebook in a message and rib me to death on there too. And what I wanted to talk about is this is kind of what I have to go through when I go through the emails. This is probably part of like the 1% of you, because a lot of you, conduct yourselves in what I would consider to be an adult manner. This guy who I don't know what he looks like or whatever, I would figure it's adult enough to know the difference, okay? Or maybe it's just a matter of trying to grift some money from me, which I don't buy coins like this. I will consult and tell you how it's all done, and and if it gets down to it, I could show them how to list it on eBay or refer them to my consignment person at Heritage Auctions, or give them the phone number and email of Ian Russell at Great Collections. So there's a bunch of steps that go along with, actually having the coin, grading it, selling it, receiving funds, and then moving on with our life. Okay, it's a number of steps. Now, the steps happen. Okay, they don't happen as quickly as a lot of people like, which, there's not a lot of like, brain waves going from one side to the other. It's like this is not a 24-hour process. This is something that conceivably could take a month, 30 days, 60 days. I was helping out a friend of a friend who found a 1969 S double die Lincoln Cent. He was interested in selling it. He was interested in selling it raw at first and just throwing it on eBay. And I said, well, if you want to maximize the amount of money for this, because I told him I felt like it'll grade at a certain grade level, and you have to go through these particular steps from owning the coin to grading it and then subsequently sending it to a auction house. You'll be able to maximize the amount of money you get for it, as opposed to maybe getting 30% of the actual value of the coin if you sold it raw. Plus, there's other authentication issues and like that, and it could get pretty messy. So at the end of the day, I ended up blocking this guy because he ended up just acting like a complete and total tool. I talk about coins, currency, and inheritances and all that stuff, and I would expect that if you were going to send me an email or a message about selling a specific coin and you don't have kind of like the first 50% of the steps already completed, it's going to be hard to do so. What I buy is stuff that I need for typesets and albums. Okay, I don't buy coins just because they sold for $2,500 on eBay. Okay, if it's sold on eBay for that kind of money at that grade level, you sell it back on eBay or you send it to a great collections. The good news is, it doesn't stop with me because I will refer you to whoever you need. But at the end of the day, okay, be wise about this. Know exactly how the whole process works. I don't claim to know 100% of everything there is about coins and currency and all that. We get into like silver and the way the whole stock market works and revolves around that, and precious metals. I really don't know as much as a lot of you think I do. I buy a silver coin, like, oh yeah, look at this, it's pretty neat. And, like silver bullion. And that's where kind of the conversation ends. Which is why you don't see me talk a lot about silver stacking and bullion and all this other stuff. I actually like to buy junk silver and then search through it to find like valuable varieties and kind of like go against the status quo as far as, how it all works and how my brain functions when I go and cherry pick through these coins for specific varieties. So anyways, I wanted to bring this up. The Cheerios Lincoln Cent. Again, guys, there was 10 million produced. I would venture to guess maybe 30 to 40% of them were broken out of the package and they were put into piggy banks. The coin is nearly 20 years old, folks. In case you're wondering, if you have the coin in the original blister, they're selling between $5 and $15. It's kind of a weird, kind of long, very wide range for such a coin. But after looking on eBay, I'm like, really? One sold for $5.99 in a traditional auction. Another one sold for $12. Another one sold for $15. Here's a lot of eight of them in the original packaging that sold for $39, which comes out to less than $5 a piece. So, and Mid-State 66 graded examples sell for about $40. So, anyways, that's my 2 cents on the day. A guy flips out over a coin that he thinks he has, but it's really not, which happens very commonplace in this hobby. And that's why we have Facebook groups, forum chat pages. We got the guys on YouTube to help kind of clarify some of these things that happen. There's a lot of kind of confusion and miscommunication when it comes to the actual grading part of it. But that's why we're here, is to kind of like clarify it. So that way, you're not going to be making a mistake of sending coins out to graders or trying to reach out to Ian Russell at Great Collections when you have a modern coin that you want to sell because one sold just like it for $2,000 and it's not graded and you know you haven't done anything to kind of like meet halfway with these auction houses. The meeting halfway point of submitting coins to an auction house is get it graded. If it fulfills the actual kind of requirements that it takes to sell such a coin through their auction site, they will tell you. Otherwise, that's it, ladies and gentlemen. Feel free to subscribe and hit the bell for instant notifications. I am doing giveaways all summer long. Gift cards, silver, coins, you name it. I'm going to be doing it pretty regularly during the summer, so I look forward to kind of giving back to my subscriber base, to the patrons, to the community. And yeah, like, share, subscribe. So you guys have a wonderful day. Enjoy your Tuesday. Stay classy, San Diego. No? Anyways, take care and peace.